The hospital was never this quiet. Machines were beeping. Lights were bright. Doctors were everywhere. But hope was gone. On the hospital bed lay a young woman. She was rich. She was powerful. And tonight she was dying. Her chest moved slowly. Her heart rate was weak. The screen showed numbers no one wanted to see. One doctor wiped his face with tired hands. Another shook his head. They had tried everything. All the best treatments. All the modern machines. All the famous doctors. 100 doctors. And still, nothing worked. A senior doctor spoke in a low voice. "There is nothing more we can do." The family stood frozen. Her mother started crying. Her father held the wall to stay standing. Someone whispered, "She will not survive the night." The words hit like thunder. Outside the ICU, the hallway was long and cold. People sat on chairs. Some prayed. Some stared at the floor. At the end of the hallway, a black woman pushed a cleaning cart. She wore an old uniform. Her shoes were worn out. Her hands were rough. She cleaned the hospital every night. Blood, tears, death. No one ever looked at her. As she mopped the floor, 2 nurses passed by. "Such a waste," one nurse said. "All that money and still dying." The cleaner kept her head down. She was used to it. She moved closer to the ICU door. The door was half open. She stopped. Her eyes went to the screen inside. She looked once, then again. Her hand froze on the mop. Something was wrong. Her heart started beating fast. She leaned a little closer. Her eyes focused on the numbers, the lines, the rhythm. Her face changed. Softly, she whispered to herself, "This does not make sense." Suddenly, a young doctor noticed her. "Hey," he shouted, "you can't stand here." The cleaner stepped back. "I'm sorry," she said quietly, but her eyes stayed on the screen. She took one step forward. The doctor frowned. "Cleaner," he said, "do your job." Other doctors laughed. One said, "Maybe she wants to save the patient." More laughter. The cleaner felt the sting. She lowered her head. She turned to leave, but her mind was on fire. Inside her head, she saw patterns, connections, mistakes. She had seen this before. Long ago, she walked slowly down the hallway. Her hands were shaking. She stopped near the window. She took a deep breath. Memories rushed back. Books, lectures, long nights studying. A dream she never finished. She looked back at the ICU door. The patient's heart rate dropped again. A nurse rushed inside. The cleaner's eyes widened. "They are treating the wrong problem," she whispered. No one heard her. Or maybe no one cared. Security walked past her. One guard looked at her suspiciously. "Why are you standing here?" he asked. "I'm just cleaning," she replied. He nodded, but kept watching. The cleaner reached into her pocket. Her fingers touched her phone. She hesitated. If she spoke, she could lose her job. If she stayed silent, someone would die. Inside the ICU, a doctor shouted, "We're losing her." The cleaner closed her eyes. Then she made a choice. She pulled out her phone. Her hands trembled as she dialed. One number. She held the phone to her ear. It rang once, twice. Then a calm young voice answered. "Hello." The cleaner's voice broke. "Mama, listen to me." There was fear in her eyes now. "They are killing her," she said softly. "They don't see it." A pause. Then the voice on the phone said, "Where are you?" The cleaner looked at the ICU door. "At the hospital." "Which one?" She told her. The voice changed. "No one touch anything," the voice said firmly. "I'm coming." The cleaner lowered the phone. Her heart was pounding. Behind the glass, doctors rushed. Machines screamed. A nurse yelled, "Her heart rate is crashing." The cleaner stood still. Ignored. Invisible. But for the first time in years, she was not afraid. She whispered to herself, "Please be fast." The ICU door flew open. Doctors ran out. One said the words everyone feared. "We're running out of time." The cleaner looked down the hallway. Far away, the elevator doors were opening. Someone was coming. Someone no one expected. And everything was about to change. The cleaner did not move. The hospital hallway felt smaller now. The air felt heavy. Doctors rushed past her. No one looked at her face. No one asked her name. To them, she was just part of the building. Like the wall. Like the floor. Inside the ICU, alarm screamed. A nurse shouted numbers. A doctor slammed his hand on the table. "This makes no sense," he yelled. But the cleaner knew. She stood near the glass door. holding her mop like a shield. Her eyes followed every movement inside. She saw panic. She saw fear. She saw confusion. And she saw the mistake. A security guard stepped closer. "Ma'am," he said, "you need to keep moving." She nodded. "Yes, sir." She pushed her cart slowly, but she did not leave. She stopped near the corner. From there, she could still see the screen. Her mind went back in time. Years ago, before the uniform, before the mop, she remembered sitting in a classroom. A small desk, a thick book. Medical words filled the pages. She was young then. Hope was still alive. She studied hard. She stayed late. She asked questions no one else asked. Some teachers praised her. Some students laughed at her. One of them once said, "You're wasting your time. People like us don't become doctors." Life hit her fast. Her mother got sick. Money ran out. Dreams were pushed aside. She left school. Not because she was weak, because she had no choice. The cleaner blinked. She was back in a hospital. A doctor came out of the ICU, his face pale. "We're losing her," he said. The family cried louder. The cleaner's chest tightened. She wanted to scream. She wanted to run inside and stop them. But she knew the truth. If she spoke now, they would not listen. They never listened before. She bent down and wiped the floor. A nurse passed and almost slipped. "Watch where you mop," the nurse snapped. "I'm sorry," the cleaner said. Her voice was calm. Too calm. Inside her mind, she was counting. Heart rhythm. Reaction time. Medication effect. They were fighting the symptom, not the cause. A senior doctor walked by, shaking his head. "This is impossible," he said. "We followed every protocol." Protocol. That word made her hands shake. Sometimes protocol saves lives. Sometimes it kills them. She looked at the ICU door again. The heart monitor line dropped suddenly. A long sound filled the room. The cleaner felt her knees weaken. "No," she whispered. A doctor shouted, "Prepare for emergency response." People ran. The hallway turned into chaos. And still, no one noticed the cleaner. She stood up straight. Her back was tired. Her hands were rough. But her eyes were sharp. She was not just a cleaner. She was a mother. And she had already made the call. Her phone vibrated in her pocket. A message. 5 minutes. Her heart jumped. She looked toward the elevator. The doors were still closed. 5 minutes could be too late. The cleaner stepped closer to the ICU door. A doctor blocked her path. "You can't be here," he said. She looked him in the eyes. "For once," she said softly, "please look again." The doctor laughed. "At what?" he said. "The floor." The words hurt, but she did not move. "Please," she said again. The doctor sighed and turned away. "Security," he called. The guard stepped forward. "Ma'am, you have to leave." The cleaner took a deep breath. She did not shout. She did not cry. She spoke slowly. "If you remove me," she said, "you remove the last chance she has." The guard paused. "What did you say?" Inside the ICU, the patient's body jerked. The heart rate dropped again. Doctors froze. The senior doctor whispered, "This is not right." The cleaner pointed at the screen. "You are missing it," she said quietly. They all turned to her. For the first time, they really looked. Not at her uniform. Not at her mop. At her eyes. Smart. Focused. Unafraid. The elevator doors dinged. Everyone turned. A young black woman stepped out. Simple clothes. Calm face. Confident walk. She looked straight at the ICU. Then at the cleaner. "Mama," she said. The cleaner exhaled. Doctors stared. "Who is that?" one asked. The young woman walked forward and said the words that changed everything. "Move," she said calmly, "if you want her to live." Silence filled the hallway. The hallway went silent. Every sound stopped. The machines, the crying, the shouting. All eyes turned to the young black woman standing near the elevator. She was calm. Too calm for a place like this. She did not run. She did not panic. She walked forward with steady steps. The cleaner looked at her daughter. Her shoulders dropped for the first time that night. She was no longer alone. A doctor stepped in front of the young woman. "Who are you?" he asked sharply. "You cannot be here." The young woman did not raise her voice. "I'm here because she is dying," she said, "and because you are out of time." The doctor laughed. Another doctor joined him. "This is a hospital," he said, "not a classroom." The young woman nodded. "I know," she replied. "That's why mistakes matter more here." The words hit harder than shouting. The senior doctor frowned. Security, he said. Remove them. The cleaner stepped forward. Please, she said. Just let her look. No, the doctor snapped. This is serious. The young woman looked past him. At the glass. At the screen. At the weak heartbeat. Her eyes moved fast. Numbers. Patterns. Timing. She spoke again. You are treating organ failure, she said. But the organs are not the problem. The hallway froze. One nurse whispered. What did she say? The senior doctor turned. Explain, he demanded. The young woman stepped closer to the glass. The reaction started 12 hours ago, she said. Delayed immune shock. That's impossible, a doctor said. We rule that out. You ruled it out too fast, she replied. The cleaner closed her eyes. She knew that voice. That tone. She had heard it when her daughter was a child. When she corrected teachers. When she solved problems others could not. A doctor crossed his arms. And you know this because? He asked. The young woman finally looked at him. Because you're watching the wrong line, she said. She pointed at the monitor. Look there, she continued. The drop is not random. It follows a cycle. The nurse looked, then looked again. Her face changed. Doctor, the nurse said slowly. She's right. The senior doctor stepped closer to the screen. His breathing changed. That can't be, he whispered. The young woman kept speaking. You gave the right medicine, she said. At the wrong time. In the wrong order. The cleaner felt tears in her eyes. Not from fear. From pride. The senior doctor turned. Who are you? He asked again. This time softer. The young woman paused. My name does not matter, she said. Her life does. The heart monitor beeped loudly. The patient's body shook. Doctors rushed. Heart rate dropping, someone shouted. The young woman raised her hand. Stop, she said. Everyone froze. Do not give her another dose, she said. If you do, she will crash completely. That's crazy, a doctor yelled. The young woman looked at him. You have 2 minutes, she said. After that, she's gone. Silence. The senior doctor's hands trembled. Sweat ran down his face. He had saved hundreds of lives. But tonight, he was not sure anymore. The cleaner stepped beside her daughter. She has been right before, she said quietly. The doctor laughed bitterly. You want me to trust a cleaner and a child? The young woman met his eyes. I'm not a child, she said. And I'm not guessing. The elevator dinged again. The hospital director stepped out. What is going on here? He demanded. The senior doctor spoke fast. This girl is interfering, he said. She claims she knows better. The director looked at the young woman, then at the screen, then at the heart rate. Can you save her? He asked. The young woman did not hesitate. Yes, she said. But you must listen now. The director looked at the senior doctor, then back at the girl. You have one chance, he said. The room held its breath. The young woman stepped forward. First, she said, remove that medication. Now. Hands moved. Orders were given. The cleaner held her breath. The heart monitor slowed. Then, it stopped falling. A flat line turned into a small rise. The nurse gasped. She's stabilizing, she whispered. Doctors stared at the screen. The young woman was not finished. Next, she said, we change everything. The senior doctor swallowed. What if you're wrong? He asked. The young woman looked at the patient. Then she dies anyway, she said. But if I'm right? She paused. She lives. The room went silent. The director nodded. Proceed, he said. The young woman took a deep breath and stepped into the ICU. The ICU felt different now. The air was tight. Every breath mattered. Doctors stood still. No one spoke. The young black woman walked toward the patient. Her steps were calm, but the room was shaking inside. Machines beeped softly. The heart line moved slowly. The senior doctor wiped his forehead. You have 5 minutes, he said. That's all I can give you. The young woman nodded. 5 minutes is enough, she replied. Some doctors exchanged looks. Others crossed their arms. They did not believe her, but they were afraid to stop her. She looked at the patient's face. Pale, weak, fighting. Then she looked at the chart. She spoke clearly. This is not organ failure, she said. This is reaction overload. One doctor shook his head. That theory was dismissed years ago, he said. It was dismissed, she replied, because people stopped looking deeper. The cleaner stood near the door. Her hands were folded. Her lips moved in silent prayer. The young woman pointed to the foreline. "That is feeding the problem," she said, "not fixing it." The nurse hesitated. The senior doctor hesitated too. "If we stop it," he said, "she could crash." The young woman looked at him. "If you don't," she said calmly, "she will crash for sure." The room went quiet. The hospital director watched closely. He had seen confidence before, but this was different. This was certainty. "Do it," he said. The nurse slowly removed the four. The heart monitor dipped. The cleaner gasped. Then, it leveled. Everyone froze. A long second passed. Then another. The heart rate stabilized. A doctor whispered, "How is this possible?" The young woman did not smile. She was not done. "Now we wait," she said. 30 seconds. "Wait," a doctor shouted. "She's dying." "No," the young woman said. "She's fighting." The seconds felt like hours. Beep, beep, beep. Then suddenly, the heart rate jumped. The nurse stared at the screen. "It's rising," she said. The senior doctor stepped back. His voice shook. "That should not happen." The young woman finally turned. "It happens," she said, "when you stop hurting the body." The patient's fingers twitched. The cleaner covered her mouth. Tears ran down her face. "She moved," someone whispered. Doctors rushed closer. One said, "She's responding." Hope rushed into the room, but the young woman raised her hand. "Not yet," she said. "This is the dangerous part." Everyone looked at her. "What do you mean?" the director asked. "She can relapse," she explained. "If we rush now, we lose her." The senior doctor swallowed his pride. "What do you suggest?" he asked. The room froze again. That question changed everything. The young woman spoke slowly. "We reverse the damage," she said. "Step by step." She gave instructions. Simple, clear, precise. The nurses followed. Doctors listened. The cleaner watched her daughter. Strong, focused, unshaken. For the first time in years, the cleaner felt seen. Suddenly, the heart monitor screamed again. A sharp sound. The patient's body jerked. "Arrhythmia," a nurse yelled. The senior doctor panicked. "We're losing her." The young woman did not move. "Not yet," she said firmly. "This is expected." "Expected?" Doctors stared. "This is the rebound," she explained. "If you interfere now, she dies." Seconds passed. The heart rate jumped wildly. The cleaner's knees weakened. She held the wall. Then, the line slowed. It straightened. It became steady. The alarm stopped. Silence. Then, a strong heartbeat filled the room. Beep, beep, beep. The nurse's eyes filled with tears. "She's stable," she whispered. The senior doctor dropped into a chair. "I don't understand," he said. The young woman looked at him. "You were trained to follow rules," she said. "I was trained to ask why." The patient took a deep breath. Her chest rose higher than before. Color slowly returned to her face. The cleaner cried openly now. Doctors stood in shock. The hospital director stepped forward. "Who are you?" he asked quietly. The young woman paused. She looked at her mother, then back at the room. "My name doesn't matter," she said again. "But what happens next does." Suddenly, a nurse ran in. "Sir," she said to the director, "the media is outside." The director frowned. "How did they find out?" The nurse hesitated. "They heard. A cleaner's daughter saved a dying patient." The room went silent. All eyes turned to the cleaner. She lowered her head. The director looked at the young woman. "This changes everything," he said, before anyone could respond. The patient suddenly opened her eyes. A weak voice filled the room. "Help me!" The cleaner gasped. The young woman rushed forward. "She's awake," a nurse cried. Doctors rushed in, but the young woman stopped them. "Careful," she said. "She's not safe yet." The heart monitor beeped faster. Too fast. The young woman's face tightened. "This isn't over," she said. She looked at the screen again. Then she whispered the words that chilled the room. "There's one more thing they missed." The room was alive again. Too alive. The heart monitor beeped fast. Too fast. Doctors stared at the screen. "This isn't normal," one whispered. The young black woman did not look surprised. She leaned closer to the patient. Her eyes followed every breath, every small movement. The cleaner stood frozen near the door. Her joy from moments ago faded. Something was wrong again. The senior doctor spoke carefully. She's awake, he said, but her heart rate is unstable. The young woman nodded. Yes, she replied, because the real problem is still there. The room stiffened. You said we fixed it, a doctor said. No, she answered calmly. I said we stopped the damage. Now we face the cause. The hospital director stepped forward. What cause? He asked. The young woman pointed to the chart. She has a rare internal reaction, she said. It hides behind normal symptoms. One doctor scoffed. If it's so rare, he said, why didn't anyone see it? She looked at him. Because you stopped looking, she said. When a patient doesn't fit the book. Silence followed. The heart monitor screamed again. The patient gasped. The cleaner cried out softly. Mama, the patient whispered weakly. The young woman moved fast. We don't have much time, she said. There is only one option left. The senior doctor's face darkened. What option? He asked. The young woman took a breath. We must stop her heart, she said. The room exploded. What? That's insane. You want to kill her? Doctors shouted over each other. The cleaner almost fell. Her heart broke. No, she whispered. No, please. The young woman turned to her mother. Her voice was gentle now. Mama, she said, this is the only way. The cleaner shook her head. She just woke up, she cried. She's fighting. The young woman held her mother's hands. I know, she said softly, and that's why we must act now. The senior doctor slammed his fist. This is madness, he said. We will not stop a living heart. The young woman looked at him. If we don't, she said, it will stop on its own, and this time it won't come back. The heart rate spiked again. The patient screamed in pain. Nurses rushed. Pressure dropping, someone shouted. The hospital director looked at the screen, then at the patient, then at the young woman. How long do we have? He asked. 2 minutes, she replied. Maybe less. The room fell silent again. Every second felt heavy. The senior doctor's hands shook. This goes against everything, he said. So does watching her die, the young woman replied. The patient gasped again. Her eyes rolled back. The cleaner cried openly now. Please, she begged the doctors. Please save her. The young woman turned to the director. If you trust me, she said, we restart her heart clean. No overlook. No reaction. And if you're wrong, the director asked. The young woman did not look away. Then I carry that forever, she said. But she gets a chance. The heart monitor began to slow. Beep, beep, too slow. A nurse shouted. We're losing her again. The senior doctor closed his eyes, then opened them. His voice was quiet. Prepare the equipment, he said. Everyone froze. You're agreeing? A doctor asked. The senior doctor nodded slowly. She's already dying, he said. This girl is the only one who understands why. The cleaner looked at him in shock. The young woman squeezed her mother's hands. Trust me, she whispered. The equipment was prepared. The room felt cold. The patient's breathing faded. On my count, the senior doctor said. The young woman shook her head. No, she said. On mine. Doctors stared. She stepped closer to the patient. She spoke softly. You are not alone, she said. Come back when I call you. The heart monitor line flattened. A long sound filled the room. The cleaner screamed. No. Time stopped. The senior doctor looked at the young woman. Now, he asked. She raised her hand. Wait, she said. The flat line stayed. Seconds passed. 10 seconds. 20. Doctors panicked. She's gone, someone shouted. The young woman's eyes stayed locked on the screen. Now, she said calmly. The shock was delivered. The patient's body jumped. The line moved. Once. Twice. Then, a heartbeat. Strong. Clear. Beep. 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 The room exploded with gasps. She's back. She's back. The cleaner collapsed to her knees. Crying. Laughing. Praying. The patient took a deep breath. Her eyes opened slowly. Doctors stared at the young woman like she was unreal. The senior doctor whispered, "We just broke every rule." The young woman replied softly, "Sometimes rules are cages." The hospital director stepped forward. His voice shook. "Who are you?" he asked again. Before she could answer, a nurse rushed in. "Sir," she said urgently, "the media is live. They want to know who stopped a heart and brought it back." The camera lights flashed through the glass. The young woman looked at her mother, then at the world waiting outside. and said, "Now the truth comes out." The hospital no longer felt like a hospital. It felt like a stage. Bright camera lights flashed through the glass walls. Voices echoed in the hallway. People whispered her name, even though they did not know it yet. The patient was alive, breathing, stable. Doctors stood around her bed in silence. No one was smiling. No one was speaking. They were still trying to understand what had just happened. The cleaner sat in a chair near the wall. Her knees were weak. Her eyes were red from crying. She kept looking at her daughter, as if she was seeing her for the first time. The young black woman removed her gloves. Her hands were steady, but her chest rose and fell faster than before. The hospital director cleared his throat. "We need to talk," he said. Doctors turned toward him. "Not here," he added. "Follow me." They moved into a private room. The media stayed outside. Cameras pressed against the glass. Inside the room, silence returned. The senior doctor finally spoke. "What you did," he said slowly, "was impossible." The young woman met his eyes. "No," she replied. It was ignored. The director leaned forward. "You stopped a heart," he said, "and brought it back." "Yes," she answered. "That decision could have ended your life," he continued. "Legally." She nodded. "I know." The cleaner stood up. Her voice shook. "She didn't do this for fame," she said. "She did it because no one else would." The room went quiet. The director turned to the young woman. "We need to know who you are," he said. The young woman hesitated. Then she spoke. "My name is Amara," she said. "I studied medicine." Doctors looked at each other. "Where?" one asked. She swallowed. "I studied everywhere I could," she said. "At night? Online? Libraries?" The senior doctor frowned. "You're not licensed," he said. "No," she replied. "Because life got in the way." The cleaner lowered her head. "I had to leave school," Amara continued. "My mother cleaned floors so I could eat." The words filled the room. Some doctors looked away. Others shifted in their seats. The director exhaled slowly. "You understood something 100 doctors missed," he said. Amara nodded. "Because I was never taught to stop at the book," she said. "I was taught to look at the person." A knock on the door. A nurse peeked in. "Sir," she said to the director, "the patient is asking for the girl who saved her." Everyone froze. The director nodded. "Let's go." They returned to the ICU. The patient looked better now. Color in her face. Strength in her breath. She smiled weakly when she saw Amara. "You came back," the patient whispered. Amara stepped closer. "You did the hard part," she replied. The patient turned to the doctors. "They told me I was dying," she said. "They said nothing could be done." Her eyes moved back to Amara. But she didn't give up. The words hit hard. Cameras captured everything. Outside, social media exploded. People shared clips. People asked questions. How did a cleaner's daughter save her? Why didn't doctors listen sooner? Inside the hospital, tension grew. A board member rushed in. "This is becoming public," he said. "We need control." The director raised his hand. "No," he said firmly. "We need truth." The board member stared. "You're risking the hospital," he warned. The director replied, "No, we're saving it." He turned to Amara. "You exposed something tonight," he said. "Something broken." Doctors stood silent. The senior doctor finally spoke again. "I didn't listen," he said, "because I saw her uniform first." The cleaner looked up. Her eyes met his. He bowed his head. "I'm sorry," he said. Tears filled her eyes. That apology mattered more than any money. The director faced the cameras outside. He took a deep breath and spoke. "Tonight," he said, "a life was saved by courage, not titles." The crowd quieted. He continued, "We failed to listen, and we will answer for that." Gasps filled the hallway. The board member whispered, "You can't say this." The director ignored him. He turned back to Amara. "I want you here," he said, "not as a guest." The room froze. "Here?" Amara asked. "Yes," he said, "to lead a new program. One that questions, not follows." Doctors stared. The board members stepped back. "This will change everything," he said. The director nodded. "That's the point." The cleaner covered her mouth. Her daughter leading doctors? Amara looked at her mother. Years of pain. Years of silence. She nodded slowly. "I will accept," she said. "But not for me." "For who?" the director asked. "For every voice you ignored," she replied. Applause broke out. Soft at first. then strong. Outside, cameras flashed brighter. A nurse rushed in suddenly. "Sir," she said urgently, "the patient's test results are back." The director frowned. "Is something wrong?" he asked. The nurse swallowed. "There's something in her system," she said. "Something that explains everything." Amara's face tightened. "What kind of something?" she asked. The nurse hesitated. "Something that shouldn't be there." The room fell silent again. Amara whispered, "This story isn't over." The room felt heavy again. But this time it was not fear. It was truth. Everyone stared at the nurse. "What do you mean, something shouldn't be there?" the director asked. The nurse held the report tightly. "There is a chemical compound," she said. "It reacts badly with the medicine we gave her." Doctors leaned in. "That compound isn't listed," one doctor said. Amara stepped forward. "That's because it was never tested for," she said calmly. "It's used in private treatments for rich clients." The room froze. The senior doctor's face changed. "You're saying," he began. "I'm saying," Amara finished. "The system failed her before she even arrived." The patient listened quietly from the bed. Her eyes filled with tears. "So it wasn't my body," she whispered. "It was the treatment." Amara nodded. "Yes," she said. And no one asked the right questions. Cameras outside caught everything. Within minutes, the story spread. News headlines flashed. Cleaner's daughter saves life after doctors miss critical detail. Hospital ignored warning signs. Genius young woman steps in. People watched. People shared. People questioned. Inside the hospital, the board members gathered. Angry. Afraid. "This is a disaster," one said. "Our reputation is finished." The director stood tall. "No," he replied. "Our silence is finished." He turned to the senior doctor. "You dismissed her," he said. "You laughed." The senior doctor lowered his head. "Yes," he said. "I did." The director looked at the cleaner. She stood quietly, hands folded. "Your name?" he asked gently. She hesitated. "Ruth," she said. The director nodded. "Ruth," he repeated. "You cleaned this hospital for years." "Yes," she replied. "And tonight," he said, "your daughter cleaned our blindness." Silence filled the room. Then applause. Not loud. Not fake. Real. Ruth cried. She had been invisible for so long. Now, everyone saw her. The patient asked to speak. The room grew quiet. "I pay for the best doctors," she said weakly. "I trusted titles." Her eyes moved to Amara. "But she saved me," she said. Not because she had power, but because she cared. She reached for Ruth's hand. "Thank you," she whispered. Ruth squeezed her hand back. Outside, the hospital announced changes. New policies, new programs, new leadership roles. Amara was offered full support. Education, resources, a future, not as charity, as respect. The senior doctor stood before the cameras. "I failed," he admitted. "I judged by appearance." People gasped. "This young woman taught me humility," he continued. "And her mother taught me dignity." Instant karma spread quietly. Doctors who mocked Ruth apologized. Nurses who ignored her greeted her by name. Security guards smiled instead of watching her. Her badge changed. Not cleaner, but staff. Ruth walked the halls differently now. Not with fear, with pride. Amara stood beside her mother. The world now knew her name, but she stayed calm. Same eyes, same focus. A reporter asked her, "What do you want people to remember from this?" Amara answered simply, "Genius does not wear one uniform," she said, "and respect should not be earned by titles." The patient was discharged days later, healthy, smiling. Before leaving, she hugged Ruth. "You saved me twice," she said. Ruth smiled through tears. Amara watched them. Her journey was just beginning. That night, Ruth went home. She placed her old uniform on the table. She looked at it for a long time, then folded it carefully, not with shame, with honor, because that uniform once had a story the world almost missed. The narrator's voice fades and strong and calm. They ignored her because she cleaned floors, but her daughter cleaned the system. And in the end, respect had no choice but to bow. The screen fades to black.